We have all had friends who have had funny Tinder stories. Let's go over some of them today. Hey, welcome to Online for Love, your #1 resource for dating by the numbers. Today we're going to be going over an online dating website called Tinder, but more specifically, we're going to be going over some stories that people have had on Tinder. Now, before we get into all that though, I do need to tell you guys about our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. Now, in order to make this review a bit easier to comprehend, I've broken it down into these 2 sections. The first section is girls' funny stories, and the second section is guys' funny stories. So without further ado, ladies first, let's go over some girls' funny stories. Now, this first story is titled Crazy, right? So this guy and I messaged for a few days, maybe even a week before he asked me out on a first date. He suggested a walk and coffee at a local place. This seems quite okay, and I did really enjoy messaging back and forth, so I said yes. I was very excited, so when we met, he started looking at me, almost without blinking, and I assumed that this was just him being excited and nervous as well, and I took it as a compliment. Silly me. The date went on, and all the time we sat in the coffee house, he was barely blinking, and things started to get a bit awkward, although the conversation went on smoothly. We then went for a walk, and he was staring at me the same way all of this time. Imagine how he managed to walk beside me and look at me at the same time. Yes, all without blinking. We walked home, and by that time I was already freaked out, aching to call my best friend and tell her about the weirdest date I had ever been on. I guess he thought the date went well because he tried to kiss me, but I explained to him that was not going to work. I still don't understand how his eyes didn't burn. So of course, you don't want to be making too much eye contact, clearly. So this is going to move me on to the next one, but before I jump into that, I did want to ask you guys to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push our videos out so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate it. So this next story is called, Is This a CV? I sent the most basic opener to a guy I matched a few hours before. A simple hey, boring old hey, expecting absolutely nothing. He was a decent looking guy, judging from his profile picture, and his bio was interesting, and he is actually a teacher somewhere. After basically a few minutes, I received the notification that he had responded. The message was quite long, which in itself took me by surprise since he absolutely had no time to type it out, all under 2 or 3 minutes. When I started reading it, it looked as if he had written a very elaborate CV summary. With that first message, I found out where he works, what his hobbies are, he has 2 sisters, and so much more. To top it all off, he finished with, how's life treating you? What on earth should I say to this? I didn't know what to do, so I tried to make a funny approach, thinking that it would break the awkwardness by commenting on his super speedy typing skills, to which he answered, I told you everything about me, and it is polite to reciprocate. Yikes. This next one is titled, Diapers Anybody? I met a guy on Tinder and went on a date to a bar close to where I lived. We had a few drinks, more than advertised, so the guards were down and we ended up going to my place. We fooled around for a while, and since he was too drunk to drive, we walked from the bar and we decided that it was better that he stayed the night. I woke up and found some cash and a note on my coffee table. Just as I was getting ready to be offended and flip out, I read the note saying, for your bed, I am so very sorry. I went to my room and found that he had actually peed my bed. He was too embarrassed to wake me up and too drunk to wake up and go to the bathroom. I was laughing like a mad person and decided to send him a message. I am a nurse after all, and this is something I see every day at work, so it wasn't a big deal, although it isn't perfect for a hookup. I teased him that I needed help with the mattress and made very light of things, so we ended up seeing each other again. I did buy him a pack of adult diapers for the next time I saw him. So this is going to move into the next one, but before I jump into that, have you ever thought about Tinder being the perfect online dating website for you? Well, to find out if it is, you should definitely check out our online dating website quiz. Our online dating website quiz is going to ask you a host of questions about what you're looking for in an online dating website, and at the end of that quiz is going to let you know what the perfect online dating website is for you personally. This next story is called Better Look Twice. I was chatting with a Tinder match and the conversation had a good flow for a day or 2. I felt pretty excited about this guy, so I did not want to keep him waiting for a response when he messaged me when I was at the gym. I tried to send him a pic of the gym so that he knows that I would chat with him later, but I accidentally sent him a pic of my finger with an inflamed wound that I sent my mom that morning. He then proceeded to send me eggplant emojis as a response. He thought the inflamed thing on my finger was my boob, and I guess zoomed in, it could have kind of been mistaken for a boob. I was confused about the horny eggplants, and he was confused that I didn't get why he was turned on, and we had a good laugh over the oversharing of my body parts and his apparent excitement. We ended up going on a date, and he referred to my wound as a finger boob. So that was our girl stories. So this is gonna move me on to number 2, which is the guys' funny Tinder stories. This first story is called Cigars and Pigs. I pursued this cute girl I matched with on Tinder for a while. I asked her out for a drink and she agreed to come on the date. We live in a small town, so I can pick her up and take her to where she agreed to go for a drink. During the short drive to the bar, we exchanged a couple of pleasantries. The beginning of the date was a bit awkward since I was nervous, so we really didn't talk about anything special. On the way to the destination, I decided to stop. I stopped to buy some cigarettes and right away started to unpack them and calm my nerves. While driving to the destination, without thinking, I threw the foil out of my car window. My initial thought was that I shouldn't have trash in my car so that I look presentable, and my second thought was, good God, what did I just do? I hoped she didn't notice, but I glanced over at her and she asked, "Why are you such a pig?" This was the third sentence that she had uttered so far. I got embarrassed and confused, but she broke the tension by saying, "Look at me calling you names instead of trying to seduce you," and smiled. We then continued with our date, and it was a great one apparently. We both needed a moment of honest spontaneity to relax. And believe it or not, we are now currently dating. So this is going to move me into the next one on my list. Before I jump into that, I did want to tell you guys about our secret Tinder opening line formula. Our secret Tinder opening line formula is a great necessity for those guys who are struggling having conversations with girls on Tinder. Those users who have utilized the secret Tinder opening line formula have had 3 times more response rate versus when they weren't using the formula before. So if you'd like to have better conversations with better dates, you should definitely check out our secret Tinder opening line formula. This next story is called Check Please. I've been chatting with a cute girl for a few days and we agreed to go on a date. We would meet on a Saturday because she was unavailable on Friday. I decided to spend Friday night with some friends and we got really wasted. The next day I was trying to get myself out of bed since I was so hungover and slept almost throughout the entire day. At around 8 p.m. I got a text from the girl if we were still on for tonight. I was excited for the date, but I was still sick from being hungover. I did not want to stand her up, so I suggested we meet for dinner. And so we did. I came to the coffee house a few minutes earlier and it was cold AF. I texted her that I would be waiting for her inside. A few moments later, a girl is coming at me smiling. I stand up, talk to her, and I even hugged her, and she was getting more and more confused. At that moment, I realized I'm talking to a waitress and there's obviously no need for me to be hugging her. I wing it by saying it was nice seeing her, and then a few moments later, my date comes to the table. The funny thing is that they do not look alike at all. My date was dark-haired and short, while the waitress was blonde and tall. The whole night the waitress was looking at me, probably wondering where the hell did she know me from. As far as my date, well, it didn't work out, but hungover me might have opened a new awkward door for my old friend, the waitress. This next story is called There's Something About This Place. Back while I was in college, I agreed on a hookup with a Tinder girl. It wasn't often a girl initiates a hookup with me, so I was excited. She was living off campus, so I went to her apartment. Things started heating up with some wine, but something was off. I felt like I've been there before. Something was familiar, but I definitely did not remember the girl that I was on a date with. As things started to heat up and the wine started doing its thing, instead of getting more and more into it, I became obsessed with the familiar feeling. I guess I appeared as uneasy as I actually was because she noticed and asked me about it. I tried to explain it to her, but she said I was silly. After we had sex, I started looking around the room and noticed a photo. There she was, my previous hookup with a girl that I knew. I asked her about the girl in the photo and she said that it was her roommate. It turns out I have been there before, only I hooked up with her roommate and she knew who I was the entire time. She said she thought I knew and almost backed out of sex because I seemed too anxious. Well, I'm glad she didn't. So this is going to move me into the next story, but before I jump into that, I did want to ask you guys to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push out our videos so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate it. This next story is called If This Is You. I'm really bad at recognizing people from their photos. This is not such a big deal unless you're going on a date with a girl you met on Tinder. I chatted with a girl for a while and we agreed to go out for drinks. I made the mistake of not asking her to have a video chat. I liked her, she seemed funny and interesting, so I didn't think it was a catfish. I should have though. I arrived at the place we were supposed to meet and there were some people there. It is usually a crowded place. I waited for her outside. People came and went and no girl approached me. At one moment, I noticed a girl who could technically be the girl I was waiting for. My inability to recognize people from photos comes in right there. I am basically staring at the girl, squinting and trying to make out if this was or wasn't her. I even went on Tinder to compare the photos, which was not helpful at all. After about 10 minutes of agony, I sent her a message. If it is you who I am staring to death, give me a sign. If it's not you, some poor girl probably thinks I'm going to kill her. In any case, hashtag embarrassed. It turns out it was her, and she wasn't sure if it was me who she was supposed to meet up with. So if you guys really want to up your Tinder game, I do have to suggest that you check out our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70 plus articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Utilizing the Tinder opening line formula, guys have had a 3 times more response rate than they had before using the formula. You can find these necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. If you guys wanted to see some more content from us, be sure to check out the videos popping up on my left and right here. I did want to ask you guys to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push our videos out. Super duper appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys here next time on Online for Love. See ya.